After 40 years in the desert, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, explains the Torah again to the Jews. This is what it says in the beginning of Chumash Dvarim, in the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 3. The verse says, Vayehi be'ashtei chodesh be'achad lachodesh. And it was on the first day of the 11th month, Moshe Rabbeinu started to explain the Torah again. Today is Rosh Chodesh Shevat. This is the same day, exactly. The first day of the 11th month. We are here in Tzfat, the holy city. The master of Tzfat is the Arizal, and the Arizal teaches us that whenever a biblical date comes back again, like right now, the energy of the original day is with us again. So that means the original energy of that day is here. What's the energy of the day? Moshe Rabbeinu explaining the Torah. What does that mean? Rashi says, Moshe translated the Torah into 70 languages. For what reason did Moshe do that? So the commentators say maybe some Jews didn't understand Hebrew. Some people say maybe because Moshe knew that the Jews will go to exile later and then speak other languages. But the Rebbe doesn't fully accept those answers. And the Rebbe gives us a more profound answer. And the answer goes like this. This is the idea. When God speaks to us, He speaks in Lashon HaKodesh. He speaks in the holy language, in Hebrew. And that's what makes the words of Torah sacred and holy. God speaking to us in Lashon HaKodesh. The whole Torah is in Lashon HaKodesh. What would happen when a Jew studies the Torah in a different language? If not for Moshe saying to us those words in other languages, Moshe has the ability, since Moshe is the vehicle through which the entire Torah is being given to us, Moshe has the ability to imbue the holiness of the Torah into the words of any other language and make those words divrei Torah, words of Torah. Only Moshe can do that. By Moshe doing it, he is enabling us, many, many years later, thousands of years later, when we speak the words of the Torah, when we learn Torah in any other language, it's not just a wisdom that we're learning. This is divrei Torah, just as if we spoke them in Hebrew, just as if we spoke them in Lashon HaKodesh. I remember one time in Chabad House in Eugene, there was a Friday night meal. Lots of people were there, and lots of regulars, and there was a guest that came from the Holy Land. That guest sat next to somebody else, one of the regulars. In the middle of the meal, the regular gets up, and he goes to the door, he takes his coat, he leaves Chabad House. So I knew something happened. I ran after him, we stand outside, I remember it was raining. I'm like, hey, what's up? Why did you leave? He said, you know, this guy came from Israel, sitting next to me, telling me that if I don't know Hebrew, and if I don't study Torah in Hebrew, then my whole learning is worthless. And I got very hurt, and I don't want to hear that, and I'm leaving. So I told him, you know what, unfortunately that guest didn't know what he's talking about. I guess he didn't learn the Rebbe's talks. The Rebbe explains that that's not true. If we learn Torah today in any other language, because Moshe translated into 70 languages on that day, today, Rosh Chodesh Shevat, we have the holiness in the Torah anytime we study Torah in any language. Not only that, it goes even deeper than that. There is a reason why some people don't know Hebrew. And the reason is because when we study Torah in other languages, we actually elevate the languages of all the nations of the world. We have this number 70 nations and 70 languages, which is the Kabbalistic number for the rest of the world, even though we know it's more than 70. And by studying Torah in other languages, we're actually doing something incredible. We're bringing the Kedusha, the holiness of Judaism, the holiness of the Torah, to the rest of the world. So, today is Rosh Chodesh Shevat. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he came to America, one of the innovative things that he did was instructing people to start translating the idea of Hasidus into English. Up until that time, the only other language other than Hebrew that people spoke words of Torah and Hasidus in was Yiddish. The Baal Shem Tov spoke in Yiddish. And Yiddish, even though it's not a Hebrew, but it's a language that's closely related to Lashon HaKodesh. And therefore it wasn't such a huge innovation that Jews spoke in Yiddish. But English and other modern languages that are in the world today, those languages are not really related to the Torah. So for us living in the modern world, speaking the ideas of Torah, learning Torah in other languages, it is actually an incredible thing. We actually have a duty. Of course, learning Torah in Lashon HaKodesh is the best. That goes without saying. But for those of us who find themselves in the situation that we are learning in other languages, we should not look down at ourselves. On the other hand, we should realize that we have an incredible job to bring the light and holiness of Judaism into other languages and cultures. And on this day, Rosh Chodesh Shevat, we take upon ourselves the resolution that as much as Torah has been translated up until this point, in the coming year, we're going to increase our efforts and translate new ideas and new parts of the Torah that are not yet available in other languages. We'll make them accessible to the rest of the world. Chodesh Tov.